Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome you to our educational seminar. Our esteemed judge is going to speak a little bit about what happened today and his thoughts on judging today and the breed in general. Afterwards, we have a little bit of emergency medicine, how to manage a bloat, a variety of medical issues that we can cover. Obviously, we have food and drink. This is all brought to you today by the Educational Committee of the German Shepherd Dog Club of America and the German Shepherd Dog Club of Greater New Haven.
Thanks, Sherry.
You're welcome.
So, I just want to say thank you to the club for putting on a great show. This is a great location. And for the opportunity, just thank you, Sherry, for the opportunity for me to speak a little bit. Education, what the Education Committee does is so important for the German Shepherd Dog Club of America. It's a lot of work. I think a lot of people don't realize how much work it is, but education is something we should all endeavor to engage in. I don't care how many years you've been in it. I've been in the breed over 50 years, and I still learn something new all the time. Thank goodness. And so I also want to toast the exhibitors and their dogs. I thought the quality here was outstanding, and the good sportsmanship from the handlers and the exhibitors was outstanding. So I tip my glass to you. These are the kind of things that keeps me judging, because frankly, it's a lot of stress to travel, leave home. I leave Martha in charge of the dogs, which isn't really fair to her, but she willingly does it. So it's a lot of work when you're all by yourself. But these are the kind of shows that make it worthwhile. Your hospitality has been great. So enough of that. But so I want to start by just saying, first of all, I would hope this would be somewhat interactive. So if you have questions or you object to anything I say, or you have a question about it or disagree, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll have a discussion. We need to have more discussions about the breed in this sport. And it used to be in the old days when we had dozens and dozens and dozens more people involved. We would, after shows, we would all hang out, whether it be in a bar or at the show site or whatever, and we talk dogs. and a lot of relationships were formed, and we'd learn a lot. And I don't see enough of that today. And I would encourage everybody, we need to have discussions about our breed. We all love our breed. We have some different viewpoints. You might disagree with some of my viewpoints. I try to follow the standard. I try to know the standard, understand the standard. I try to train my eye to see everything that needs to be seen, and it's not necessarily an easy process to do. But first the question I want to ask you is, were you able to follow whether you agreed with me or not in my placements, were you able to follow my judging today? Is that
pretty consistent?
Okay, so the procedure. So what I'm getting at is procedure, to me, is so important for a judge, so that you can understand, regardless of whether you agree with their placings, but understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So, and the other thing is, for a judge, a consistent procedure is so important, because judging takes intense concentration and focus. And if you're thinking about procedure, it's detracting from your ability to concentrate and focus. So that's why I try to have a procedure that's natural for me, that's consistent for me. Plus the handlers know what it is, and they can anticipate what they're going to be expected to do. So I think that's really important. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the dogs, talk about judging, talk about the breed in general. So I loved a number of my dogs' males today. The male that I gave winners to was my cup of tea, all right? Beautiful. It's a beautiful breed type. Cannot be underemphasized. If we don't have beautiful breed type, who the heck wants our dogs other than show people to watch them go around a ring in circles? it's one of the essences of our breed, is the look of eagles, the nobility, and all the little details. You know, some years ago, somebody sent out a survey to judges, and they listed like 10 different items and said, list them in order of importance. And I wrote back and I said, everything's important, and especially those details that enable a dog to have breed type. Specifically, like if you look at a bitch like Mercedes, who's having such a great successful career and doing so much goodwill for our breed, that's a bitch with beautiful breed type. And that probably is doing as much for her as any of her other attributes. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm judging. It's what I'm looking for when I'm breeding, is I want, and then on top of it, or actually first and foremost, temperament. So I will not breed to a dog unless I know firsthand what its temperament is, which means I have to meet him in person. There are very few people whose word I will take for it, because when you ask them, a lot of times you'll get, some flowery language about their personality or temperament. I want to meet the dog in person. If I don't have puppies with good temperament, I am very disturbed. So far, we've been very, very fortunate. Today, I felt that pretty much the entire group of animals passed my loose lead exam. And that's the other thing. I try to do a loose lead exam by the book. The loose lead exam will not tell you what the dog's character is. That's too complicated. It may not even really be a great indication of their total temperament, because we have very good trainers among our handlers who can get a dog passed. But having said that, I felt like today, so I try to do a really good loose lead exam, which means loose lead, approach the dog, don't have the dog run into you as a judge, which I see so many judges doing, but you have them stand, loose lead, no double handling, and you just walk up, touch them. If they look confident or comfortable, that's it. You don't pet them, you don't hug them, you don't chase them around if they look a little worried, all right? But you make your decision based on their behavior. So I call the loose lead exam not a temperament test, but a behavior test, because what you're evaluating is the dog's behavior. If the behavior is acceptable and they pass from a behavior standpoint, you continue to watch them throughout the class. You're looking for signs that maybe they're uncomfortable or whatever, and maybe you can go back and kind of check them out. But if their behavior is good on the loose lead exam, that to me is what the test is designed for. You can't know about their overall character, and you can't really know about their temperament. I don't care how long you've been in dogs. The worst ones will reveal themselves with the loose lead exam if it's done properly, and if it's not done properly, the worst ones can get by you. And then tomorrow, at the next day's show, you'll be thoroughly embarrassed when the dog that you were touting as having great temperament, crawls around backwards from the judge, which doesn't happen very often, thank goodness. So, that's first. They have to pass a loose lead exam. Coming and going matters, and especially if it's close between some animals. So I want to have them clean, coming and going. I will forgive a little bit. Today, I didn't have to forgive too much, because my best animals were really good coming and going. Maybe some tiny little things that you'd want to improve on, but not enough to make a difference with the placings. Again, I was thrilled with my winner's dog. Great breed type, stroked it honestly, both ends, good middle piece and back, top line, fluid coordinated, all male, beautiful dog, and I understand it finished him. My winner's bitch was effortless. She never changed. She was smooth. She stroked it very correctly, front and rear, I couldn't deny her. What I will fault as much as anything is locked up rears. So, and one of the things I'm talking about is not just how does the hock look as it follows through, but the knee joint. So a lot of dogs that I've seen lately have the locked knee joint as they're stroking back. And they almost look like they're like pedaling a bicycle. And I see these dogs being rewarded. So I would just say I'm concerned about that particular fault. The German Shepherd dog is a rear drive dog. 70% approximately of their propulsion comes from the hindquarter. 30% or thereabouts comes from the forehand. So they have to have an extremely functional hindquarter. So I'm looking for that as well as a correct forehand. I don't want to see the paddling in the front. They should be, so the two joints in the hind leg should open simultaneously, and when they're at full extension, each joint should be open at about 135 degrees. The forehand should sweep out, and you should never be able to see a picture where their elbow and where their forehand is looking parallel to the ground. All right, and I don't care if that's just a second in time, it is a wrong, it's a wrong action in that second in time that you're catching. Both the shoulder and the elbow joint should open simultaneously. So when you're opening, you're coming out like this, all right, and not like this, and definitely not paddling in the front. So they should be coming out like this, and at both ends, the feet need to be close to the ground at full extension. And then the hock should, when the dog reaches under themselves with the rear, the hock should not be flat on the ground, or the heel of the hock should not be touching the ground. Now we have a lot of dogs, because of their angulation, more than just the toe pad is on the ground. But I don't want to see the heel on the ground, all right? So maybe the toe pad, most of the foot can be on the ground, but not the heel. So those are things that I have trained my eye to see, and I specifically look for. Another thing you probably see me do when at some point in the ring, usually early on, but when the dogs are on a loose lead, I go up close as they go by. I'm looking to see if they're toe dragging. Toe dragging is not so easy to see when you have long grass or you're at a distance. But if you get up close as they're going by, you can see the toe draggers. But don't evaluate that on a tight lead, because some dogs will toe drag on a tight lead but won't toe drag on a loose lead. So you'll want to see them on a loose lead. My best of breed dog is a spectacular breed type specimen. He's a hunk. There may be dogs that are more, outreaching, although he's much more than adequate. But he's very correct at both ends. Beautiful, gorgeous breed type, and when he does stroke it, he's very impressive. My best opposite bitch is Super Side Gator. Really, really nice bitch. Showing a little fast, but even slow, I'm sure she's beautiful too. Yeah. The hardest thing is getting the handlers to slow down. So I would just say, handlers, please. Some judges don't slow you down. I don't know how you judge dogs at a fast speed and on a tight lead. So as long as I can see a loose lead at some point, or most of the time, and a slow speed. When you first come in the ring, you can go at any speed you want, but then I want a very slow, easy speed. And most dogs look better that way. And that's a tending speed. So that's the German Shepherd dog, as a sheep herding dog, a gaiting dog, that's their correct speed. So that's the speed you want to judge them at. What else? I had a really nice reserve winners dog, extremely handsome puppy, beautiful breed type, elegant, dark, masculine, nice mover. And my reserve winner's bitch I was super happy with her too. You know, some of these decisions are very, very close. And it's just, you know, everything is a trade-off. There's no perfect dog. So, you know, I might be hard on something, but if a certain animal is otherwise excellent, and that thing that I'm normally hard on is only minorly wrong, I can go with that. So, you know, it's called not being a fault judge. However, I think some people take that to extreme when they say don't be a fault judge. Our standard contains a number of very serious faults, and faults. So we have to follow the standard. So I would recommend to everybody, learn the standard, read it often, and then learn how to look for the things that we need to improve on in our breed. I think our breed's in a pretty good state. I really do. Yes, we can improve temperament. We have always had to improve temperament. That should be an ongoing goal that we never ever ignore. I've been in this sport for over 50 years. We've always had temperament to improve on. I don't know if it's better now than it was then or not, but all I can say is we have to focus on it and keep trying to improve it. As far as the overall quality of the dogs, I think they're probably as good. The good dogs, I think, are probably as good as they've ever been. And when I go back sometimes and look at videos from years ago of dogs that I thought were great dogs back then, and I realized they really couldn't compete today with our best dogs. So our best dogs are really good dogs, but we do have issues that we need to address and should always be, you know, working to do that. But you have to recognize those issues. You have to train your eye. And it takes, first of all, you have to care, not just win. You're not just here to win. If you are, then you're not a student of the breed. The other thing is we can learn something from every venue. Right? I learned stuff from performance people. You know, the things they're looking for. Okay, I'm being given the. So anyway, have an open mind, be a student of the breed, and really try to pay attention to what needs to be improved.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.